Hey, this is episode 3 of Shadowrun Returns. I'm multitasking some food while playing, so I might have to go AFK a couple of times. Oh, well, I will go AFK a couple of times. Oh. Thanks to the semiconductor-based gene sequence system that David employed, we should have the information we need to track the Ripper in the Matrix. I'm really impressed with his results, considering it was his first attempt. He was utilizing an unproven technique he'd read about in a science journal, and he was working from memory on minimal sleep. Sounds fascinating. If there's time later, maybe you can tell me more about it. Yes, maybe we can sit down with David and he can share his research, but let's get focused. Here's what I was thinking. We hit the Lone Star DNA database first to see if our donor has prior criminal records. They have extensive DNA archives. Then we go hunting based on what we find. Let's hit the deck and jack into the Matrix. I can get into their private grid easily, but I've got to warn you. Once we're in, it could get a little rough. How much decking experience have you had? I'm pretty damn good. Great, I'll come with, just in case any IC decides to crash our party. The excruciating ecstasy of jacking your neural network into the digital world. That's not the first time jacking into the Matrix, dude. Come on. Come on, game. Washes over you, grips you, crushes you into singularity, and expands you infinitely. You are one with the data stream. Guess not all of them are. Sniffer, accuracy 50%. Dice is down. Let's see if there's a match for this. It's whatever the fuck. Hack DNA database. DNA match located. 100% match. Arrest records database. Subject Silas Forsberg. Status deceased. Profession shop surgical assistant. Priors breaking and entering 2 counts. Public indecency 1 count. Brought in for questioning on accusations of unlicensed plastic surgery. No charges were filed. 100% match to a dead man. Let's keep looking. We've got 2 more hits on the name Silas Forsberg. Vulnerable. Hacked autopsy records. Autopsy records. Subject Silas Forsberg. Notes: subject was found overdosed on half a dozen different sedatives. Several anti-anxiety medications were also found in his system. Face was mutilated, possibly self-inflicted. Identity could not be confirmed immediately due to disfigurement. Had to check dental records to confirm. No next of kin. Large puncture wounds were found in several places on the body, possibly large bore surgical needles. Body had been decomposing for several weeks before the landlord noticed the smell and called the police when no one answered the door. Newsnet. 1 return on subject Silas Forsberg. The body of Silas Forsberg, a shop surgical assistant, was found in an apartment in Snohomish earlier this week. The body had been there for as long as a month when Forsberg's landlord noticed a rancid smell and contacted authorities. Lone Star representatives have issued a statement saying Forsberg's death has been ruled a suicide. According to reports, his body, a mass of puncture wounds, and the cause of death was determined to be an overdose of anti-stress medication and sedatives. The man's employer claims he was a dedicated employee, though he suffers from bouts of depression. Forsberg's next of kin could not be located, but the attorney appointed to his estate has located a will written weeks prior, leaving all of his belongings to his psychiatrist. The identity of the psychiatrist has not been released due to privacy concerns, yet not a sad end to a life, as is far too common here in this world. Now that might be something to go on. Let's regroup in meat space for a bit. Yeah, let's go to meat space. So here's what we know. Our DNA evidence belongs to a dead man, whose death was never explained. He works with chop shops, which fits with the living guy that you've met. The Newsnet says he left his estate to his psychiatrist. Maybe finding out who his psychiatrist was will give us a next clue. My gut says we can deck into the medical board's records and reverse trace to this doctor. You in? Punch it, man. One second, I need to check the food. Okay, recover. Okay. Searching medical records. Silas Forsberg. Medical records filed for Silas Forsberg located. 2020 to 2030. Pediatric records. Partial. One partial pediatrics entry stands out from the rest. Child suffers from chronic depression and social anxiety, most likely caused by his physical abnormalities. We've seen many cases like this recently, with the outbreak of changeling children being born. With the aberrant physiology, we're seeing there is no telling what sort of brain functions are affected. Prescribed a series of sedatives last year that seem to have no effect, upping the dosage. 2030 to 2040. Data missing or corrupted. Contact your administrator for help. 2040 to present. The file is quite large and takes well over an hour to read through. The final entry, however, is the most significant. It is written by Dr. Henry Holmes. Silas has overcome significant mental disorders and no longer goes through periods of violent episodes. Latest medications have proven especially effective, but I believe that being treated by another elf has significantly impacted his treatment. Unfortunately, my efforts to maintain an emotional boundary with him have proven challenging. He has bonded to me in an unhealthy and frankly unnerving way. His hero worship exhibits itself in the form of mimicked speech patterns and adopting my dress. For this reason, and for the health of the patient, I am assigning another doctor to his case. I will inform you at his next session. Got a name now, Dr. Holmes. Let's keep going and find out where he works. Employment records located. Henry Hollings Holmes, medical doctor, PhD. Check current employment status. Current employment status. Dr. Henry Holmes currently holds the position of Chief Psychiatrist and Administrator at Mercy Mental Hospital, Snohomish, Washington, UCAS. Check previous employers. Previous employers. Psychiatrist in residence, Mercy Mental Hospital in Snohomish, Washington, UCAS. Attending psychiatrist, Mercy Mental Hospital in Snohomish, Washington, UCAS. Private practice. Leave the employment records. Bingo, back to meat space again. Jacking out will cause you to be stunned for 5 AP and will do HP damage. I see. Reality is at the end of the day contextual, and as the meat world comes back into focus, your head once again tries to settle on which world is the real one. While the philosophical questions linger, your meat body demands food and drink. You disconnect from your deck to find that the Union's safe house has risen. David looks almost as tired as you do. You can tell that this case has gotten under his skin, like it has yours. Any luck in there? We found an exact match for the DNA, but it was linked to a dead shop assistant by the name of Silas Forsberg. Now I have my theories, but what do you think is going on here? Maybe Silas faked his death. That's a distinct possibility. What was it that we saw in the autopsy report? The face was so mangled that they had to use dental records to identify him. Good catch, that matches up with something I've seen runners try. It's easy enough to find a body that'll make a replica set of teeth for you. Find some schlub off the street, no one will miss, swap the teeth and throw the heat off your trade for a while. Lucky, I've never been that desperate. But why would you need to go to those lengths? Did the police records have something linking him to a different crime? He had a prior for unlicensed plastic surgery. True, wouldn't look too good on someone's record if they wanted to become a doctor. I think this is beginning to come together. The late Silas left all his belongings to a doctor. Dr. Holmes' employment record had him as the administrator at Mercy Mental, and the picture on his file matches the person you saw downtown. The same person this DNA belongs to. All the evidence points to him being your killer, whoever he really is. I should go find this Dr. Holmes and ask him some very pointed questions. Please pay him my respect. I always find that high caliber rounds get the message across. You should clearly hire some friends and go loaded for bear. I side-loaded a ton of valuable data from those Lone Star Matrix notes. Here's your cut. I'll see you later. Execute assessment. Erosion level 2. Yeah, I think that's Ocasio snaps her fingers and calls forth the spirit, normally seen perched on her shoulder. It appears from out of ether, and the doctor immediately seems less fatigued than she was a moment ago. Now, what can I do for you? Everything alright here, Doc? Here at the Union, yes, fine. I'm just getting back myself. Days here tend to be slow, so I volunteer at the medical center on the other side of Touristville, and I had a rough shift. Imagine most shifts in the Barrens are rough ones. By any measure, yes, they are. But today was especially difficult. I didn't hear all the details. All I really know is what came in on the lips of the victims healthy enough to still speak. Apparently, one of the Baron's gangs incurred the wrath of the local Seolpa rings, leading to a rolling shootout through the city streets. Several bystanders were injured. But the real mess didn't begin until the party crashed into the yards of an old industrial plant out on Union Hill Road. They woke some sort of toxic spirit, which then began running amok, causing easily as much damage as the initial battle. And we were left to pick up the pieces, of course. But enough about my trouble. Let's hear about yours. Tell me what ails you. If you're looking for runners again, I'm your guy. Discreet service only. I need to hire a crew. I need to hire a crew for what? Look, he's upgraded. A melee rigger seems a bit bad. High runners and head to Mercy Mental Hospital. Full Monty. I don't have cash to hire more. I'm burning too much cash on stuffs. Mercy Mental Hospital. The blood you found at the warehouse belongs to a man masquerading as one Dr. Holmes. And you've tracked him to Mercy Mental Hospital, located in notoriously anti-meta-human farmlands of Snohomish. The drive to the hospital is long and unpleasant. Finally, you reach the walled and gated hospital compound. Despite the pretense of security, the gate is unguarded, unlocked and open. No one stops or greets you as you drive up to the large crumbling building. Gothic ramparts, top a damaged roof, cracked walls and broken windows. All around the building is a lawn gone wild. Only the artificial light from within speaks of inhabitants. You walk up the hospital steps to confront Sam Watt's killer and bring an end to the Emerald City Ripper. Welcome, sir. What business brings you to Mercy Mental Hospital? I'm here to see Holmes, Dr. Holmes. Ah, a new customer. Please wait in the common room up ahead. I'll notify the good doctor. Select the decker to jack in. It's an automated medication dispensary. It doesn't recognize you. Hack bathroom door. Private record data store. Hey guy, have you seen Josie? I don't think so. I know, right? I haven't seen him in days. Dr. Philippe told me not to worry about it. He says I worry too much. But who am I supposed to play chess with? Donnie over there can't suss more than match 4. What's so important about this Josie character? He's a great guy. I mean, everybody likes him. Sure, he looks like a meathead, but once you get to know him, he's a real thinker. He's got a Super Brawl gold ring he always wears from when he played with the Screamers, and he's the only guy on this floor who knows how to play chess. Urban Brawl, huh? That's a rough profession. Not too rough for Josie. He says he went whole seasons without any injuries. He was usually playing Outrider, though. Will you at least help me look for him? I have this key I swiped off the day guard, but they keep a close eye on us. You could have a peek in the infirmary and see if he's there. If there's a record or something, he might just be in a cool-off room and they won't tell me. I'll see I can find something. No promises. Okay, I'll be here if you do. Hello, stranger. You look new here. I'm looking for Dr. Holmes. Donna's face blanches. I don't think you really want that. Not really. What's that supposed to mean? Around here, you don't want to attract the attention of the doctor. If you stay quiet, life is much easier. Much easier. On Dystopia, who are you? Name's Donny. That's my name. Donny. D-O-N-N-Y. I knew I didn't recognize you. I know everyone in this place. Everybody. Well, everybody on the first 2 floors. How long have you been here, Don? It's Donny. D-O-N-N-Y. And I don't know for sure. What year is it? 2054. 2054. You don't know the year? They only let us watch pre-approved video discs. Some of the patients can have violent reactions to seeing the outside world again. I'm doing a health and safety check for the corporate office. Well, you don't want to talk to me. I don't work here. I'm not crazy enough for that. I should go. The clock stopped, probably displaying a time from 40 years ago. It's weird, I unlocked 2 doors, but the doors didn't unlock. Halls of disrepair. As you venture deeper into the asylum, you see that the inside is every bit as bad as the outside. Gone is any attempt to uphold sanitary hospital aesthetics. With peeling paint, cracking floors, and exposed conduit, the pretense of mental care is shattered. In this modern era, Mercy Mental Hospital is a throwback to the barbaric asylums of old. Prisons and torture chambers, rather than places of healing. It's clear that Dr. Holmes is spending his money on something other than this facility. You continue on. Holmes can only run so far. Holmes, the intercom begins speaking as soon as you approach. Holmes must be watching from somewhere. You don't understand, do you? This is a place for broken things, but only by further breaking them can they be remade. And so, we must break you. Whatever you say, Psycho. inventory cart contains a gate key. Just take it. There's an unlabeled trivet disc in the second drawer. Trivid, I guess. The smell of rotting flesh is immense. The remains appear to be from multiple meta-humans. From another intercom, Dr. Holmes continues. Someone once told me that I was a broken thing, but he also said I could remake myself. He wanted to break me down, so I could put myself back together again. And I did, but only after I broke him. I could remake you as well. What wonderful twisted thoughts must shine in a mind such as yours. But I'm more inclined to use you for parts. Yeah, no thanks. No. You're supposed to heal yourself. God damn it. By all means, come. You have proven yourself a truly fine specimen. I can think of 100 uses for one such as you. The video player holds a collection of personal diaries. Some of the video files are missing. Insert and play back the Tridio 3. In today's interview, Miss Yuskin told me she hated her legs, said they were stumpy, unattractive. I haven't done a transplant in years, but I offered to give her new legs. Her face lit up like it was Christmas. At least her cut out can block out the surgery and painful recovery process. I've put in an order to the organ grinders to send me anything leggy. Maybe I'll get some elf legs and see how she likes them. Playback Tridio 6. I was walking to the organ grinder downtown, and there was some kind of event happening at Mega Media. They had a puppet there from Maria Mercurial's lab, label with an Persona Fix chip installed, making her an exact doppelganger. They were just using her to hawk some Simpsons re-release of a Mercurial live show, but it gave me an idea. The cutouts, the body modifications, and my health supply of patients. I'm perfectly set up to be a Bunraku fixer. If I can find a supplier for Persona Fix chips, I can sell full-service Bunraku, even program the behavior trees. Playback Tridio 8. Found a buyer for the first Bunraku. A man in the Barrens offered me 20,000 for the female troll I've been modifying. He likes them big, he says. All that's left is to arrange delivery. He says he can put me in touch with some more buyers if I'll accommodate special orders. These morons' lives are already over anyway. At least they can do is line my pocket. Nice dude. Before you is a medical lab turned torture chamber. The smell of old blood and decayed flesh permeates the room. Gory stains speak of the body's fluids spilled without regard for well-being or hygiene. There are bodies, probably former patients, trapped in hideous machines, enduring horrific experiments. The subjects you can see all appear dead. Any that aren't must wish they were. You've chased Holmes to his lair. Just as his face reveals an ugly soul, so does his safe haven, it would seem. Holmes, Silas, the Emerald City Ripper. The elf is a monster beyond compare. It's time to end this. Another intercom crackles at your elbow. One solid blow would offer a few moments of blessed silence, but this is also a rare chance to get a word in on the good doctor, who greets you with more of his chittering laughter. You are a persistent one, a fine specimen indeed. We both know how this ends, so let's get to it already. Patience, patience, we're not done here yet. I have one last examination to conduct. Pitessel, subdue them. That's a big guy. Ouch. Ouch. My armor. Can't you do anything right, Pitessel? Be nice to poor Pitessel. Holmes drops to the ground, the light in his eyes fading fast, but something keeps the shriveled husk of his soul stuck to this mortal coil for a few moments more. This is a place of broken things. I remake them. She asked me to remake her. He manages one more laugh, his glazed eyes rolling towards a workbench across the way. She was playing both of us. Then, with the final bloody whimper, the Emerald City Ripper breathes his last. +1 action point. Your experience has increased your ability to operate in dangerous situations. Thank you very much. Holmes' workbench falls somewhere between coroner's slab and medieval torture device. It is decorated in the many colors of death and littered with instruments of that trade. To one side there is a leather-bound journal stuffed with uneven pages. To the other is a pocksack, its small screen still glowing. Beneath the bench is a rolled sheaf of papers, held closed with a tied length of circle tubing. Investigate the workspace. The bench has clearly played host to numerous bodies over its lifetime. It includes limb restraints as well as skeletal traction mechanisms. At this table, Holmes likely dismembered bodies, or quite possibly put them back together. The tackiness of the blood suggests it has been used relatively recently. Skim the journal. Leafing through the pages, you find few intelligible entries. Holmes may not have been a real doctor, but his handwriting certainly fits the stereotype. Stuffed in the last few pages is a copy of a dismemberment order from a local cemetery, with the grave's occupant marked as Melinda Watts. Access the pocket secretary. Holmes is still logged in, granting you access to his currently loaded files. Prominent among them is an hospital report from a donor program. It lists the organs besides the names and the vital statistics of the recipient. Your eye catches Sam Watt's name, besides the entry for liver. Also on the list are the Ripper's other known victims, along with several others who may have shared in the same fate. There is also a large sum of yen, which can easily be transferred to your account. Examine the rolled sheet of paper. Unfurling the large sheet of paper, you discover a diagram of a human female form, rendering to an impressive level of detail. It appears to be the blueprint for making Holmes' very own monster. His hip slot is still fresh, the open wound pink and wet and lurid. His voice drips innuendo, but his eyes say, nobody's home. Well, hello there, did you come to play? Are you okay? How long have you been here? Of course we're okay. We're ready for a little party. You want to have a little play party with me? By her name? She's assembled in a standard config. Face of a schoolgirl, body of a stripper. You'd need some thick beer goggles to miss the work she's had done. The puppet stares blankly at you. Erase Holmes' programming. His eyes focuses and his hand raises slowly to touch his head wound. The fingers come away wet and sticky. Panic twitches at the corner of his mouth as he surveys the room. First you, then the girl, then down to his own body, which is no longer his. Sweet Jesus, what did he do? What am I? He begins weeping, his body racked in great inconsolable heavy sobbing. Fucking nice guy. The ride back to the Seamsters Union is quiet compared to the pandemonium left behind at Mercy Mental Hospital. Lone Star Squad's cars pass you on the road, sirens blaring, no doubt in response to the aftermath of the showdown with the late Dr. Henry Holmes, the Emerald City Ripper, the man who violently repossessed the internal organs of Sam and Jessica's mother, Melinda Watts. And although the killer is dead and his grip on the city is broken, it's clear he wasn't working alone. There are loose ends aching to be tied. The taxi turns onto Redmond Way, cruising past now familiar landmarks until the Seamstresses Union, in all its decadent, seedy glory, materializes between swipes and the its overworked windshield wipers. Time to evaluate your next move. Johnny Clean is talking with Cherry Bomb and Mrs. Kuboto when you walk up. We were just talking about you, Dystopia. And the Emerald City Ripper. Ironic that you tracked a serial killer to a mental hospital. Johnny Clean told us where you were going. Oh my, we have been waiting for you to return. You seem pretty interested. Of course we're interested. We each have our reasons for wanting the killer found. Sam was a regular here, and his loss has been felt, regardless of his shortcomings. The whole sprawl has been shaken by these killings as well, the randomness of them. No one knows if they will be next or what the killer might take from them. I admit that the killings have hampered business as well. I'm sorry, but it is true. It does not help that Sam's body was found on the street from here. Even my regular customers have been loath to venture out with the killer on the loose. Now tell us, Ome, did you find the person responsible for the Ripper murders? The person responsible, no. The killer, yes. I don't understand. Are you saying the killer wasn't responsible for his own actions? This sounds more complicated than I expected. It is. The head of the asylum was killing specific people to harvest specific body parts. All of the transplanted organs came from the same donor, Melinda Watts, Sam's mother. It looked like he was putting her back together. The three are silent as the news sinks in. So Sam had an organ transplanted from his mother, and then the Ripper killed Sam and all those other people, just to reassemble Sam's mother. Looks like it. I sense a cause and effect in this. Coyote and Jake Armitage just left here to attend Sam's funeral. I'm told that there will be a reinterment ceremony for his mother as well. His sister invited me to the funeral and the reinterment when I met her here. Think his sister Jessica had something to do with it? Hang on, I saw Sam's sister when she was here the other day. She was as corpo as they come, but I can't imagine a lady like that behind a series of murders. There's got to be something else going on. It is clear that you must go to the funeral and talk with Jessica Watts, Dystopia. That's where I was headed, Mrs. Kabuto. Of course you were. Thank you for allowing us to catch up. Mrs. Kabuto raises her hand when the conversation stops. Wait, before you go, there is one thing you need to tell us, Dystopia. Where is the Emerald City Ripper now? Well, he isn't in heaven, I'm sure of that. She nods in satisfaction. Hi, that is good. Still only one piece, you see? More's the pity for me, but I'll still take your money. Perhaps a full physical is in order, or we can call it a medical consultation. That's where I roughly determine the odds of your survival based on your professional proclivities. It comes with a lollipop. So what'll it be? Actually, I'm curious how many patients you've lost over the years. Dr. Castle sets down her work and fixes you with a hard look. Her expression normally falls on the axis of varying degrees of indifference, depending on her level of tiredness, but now it has shifted over to something decidedly darker. Is this morbid curiosity? I didn't mean to upset you. It's fine, and I have no reservation about answering the question. To give you a hard number is difficult. There are many who I would have considered patients that never made it home, and so I suppose one could say they died while under my care, though not as a result of it. But the number I think you want is the number of patients who died on my table, and that number is 6. 6 who I was unable to save, spread across a 13-year career, and I remember each and every one, down to the smallest detail, including the moment where I realized I could do nothing more for them. I would argue that 4 of those 6 were beyond helping from the moment they passed through my doors. The 5th died as a result of complications while installing a stolen piece of experimental cyberware, which I had cautioned against using. And the 6th? Entirely my fault. I made a mistake. I can't claim I was overtired or inexperienced or distracted. I simply made the wrong decision, and a young man died as a result. Still sounds like a pretty stellar track record, Doc. She picks up her tablet and resumes her work. Yes. Will there be anything else? Can I see your medical supplies? sorry about that. I had to go out and check on the food, and the computer had run, or the camera had run out of batteries. So I'm back now. Sell items. Algernon stands stock still, his eyes closed and his face composed in a mask of stern concentration. But then a small snore escapes his nose, instantly shattering the elf's careful manicured mystique. A clearing of your throat is enough to rouse the talismonger from his meditation. Ah, Dystopia, I was watching your approach from the astral realm. So good of you to visit again. What might I do for you on this fine day? So how are things in the astral? Always a curious place, the astral, though a mirror world to our own. It's ever changing. I suppose the same can be said of our reality, but things are of a transitory nature here on the physical plane can cause long-lasting changes in the astral. Oh my god. Let's not talk my ear off. Plus 1 quickness, plus 5 HP. Grants charisma and spirit control. Grants intelligence and drone control. Grants intelligence and ESP control plus 1. On his workbench, Buster currently has a mil-spec shotgun, fully disassembled, and its part neatly arranged. He lovingly massages each piece with a microfiber cloth coated in some kind of gun oil or polish. Whatever the stuff is, it leaves the pieces shining brilliantly and pungent as hell. Well, take a look at what you've got. Effin' hard. Family deaths. The sun is nearly set when you reach Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament. Its cemetery, dilapidated and overgrown, sits atop a small hill on the outskirts of the city. A somber enclave of the dead overlooking the sprawl of the living. The Seattle rain continues unabated, and lightning appears over the mountains, exposing the landscapes in staccato pulses of stark flashes. You walk the gravel path to the gate of the cemetery. Up ahead, you see Coyote and Jake standing by the gravesite alongside Jessica Watts and another mourner, a beautiful elven woman in a six-figure outfit. Whatever Dr. Holmes was up to at Mercy Mental Hospital, the answers lie here, with the reinterred body of Melinda Watts, the recently deceased body of Sam Watts, and with those attending them at this ceremony. You have karma. Let's spend some karma. Intelligence. The mourners stand graveside, listening to the Catholic priest's word of prayer and solace. Jessica's face is filled with relief as the last of her family is laid to rest. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, Lord, receive the souls of Sam and Melinda Watts, mother and son, to live forever by your side. Amen. Thank you, Father. I know that my mother rests easier now that she's finally in the parish cemetery. I'm sorry for the recent loss of your brother, but I'm glad that reinterring your mother's body has brought you comfort. She loved this parish so. She opens her hands to the elf standing across from her. Thank you for coming, Lynn. Your support has meant the world to me. Now I can live again, with my new family. The woman is a classic elven beauty, confident, poised, expensively dressed. Of course, I am glad this ancient ritual brings you some measure of solace. I hope you'll be able to put all this behind you now. Jessica speaks to the rest of you. Thank you all for coming. I didn't realize Sam had so many friends. I appreciate your support and your friendship with Sam. I saw him out the night he died. Only fitting I see him out today. Sam may have had his problems, and he was our friend, part of the Union family. Vaya con Dios, but Miss Watts, family members and friends, thank you for attending the service. I suggest we don't linger. The cemetery isn't safe after dark. Thank you, Father. Will just be a moment. Ashley, if you could stay, I have a few things I'd like to discuss. She eyes you suspiciously and glances over at her elven companion. I suppose, but let's not keep Father O'Malley. I understand. Good night and God bless. The priest clasps his Bible to his chest and then moves at a brisk pace towards the neighboring church. Father O'Malley leaves, granting you an opportunity to speak with Jessica, but it's hardly a private conversation, as the elf Lynn has chosen to stay and support her friend. As it so happens, Jake and Kyoto have also lingered, lending you support too. Alright, what would you like to talk about, Dystopia? Let's start with your mother. Did you know she was an organ donor? Jessica's demeanor turns oddly cool and stony in response to such a simple question. I'm afraid you're mistaken. Then can you explain how her body parts made their way into half a dozen recipients? You don't know what you're talking about. I know Sam helped your mother save lives through that donation. Her jaw clenched. She wasn't a donor, she was a victim of my brother's greed. He took from her, desecrating her body, all to benefit himself. She never would have agreed to such a thing. Not even to save the lives of others? Lives like Sam? Cracks are starting to appear on Jessica's carefully crafted mask. Sam destroyed his own liver, pursuing oblivion. That was his choice. Your mother's gift meant a second chance for Sam. It was not a gift, it was stolen, and I wasn't about to let him destroy what little remained of her with his vulgar appetites. And so you hired Holmes to get it back. Jessica's eyes burn with righteous anger. Gone are any attempts to hide her guilt. Dr. Holmes made my mother whole again. He made it possible for me to place her to rest and say goodbye. He killed Sam and a half dozen other people whose lives had been saved by your mother. She snaps. Those people were scavengers, ghouls. They deserve to die for desecrating my mother's body. And poor Sam, it was his drinking and debauchery that drove my mother to the grave, as sure as he had murdered her himself. My mother deserved honor and dignity. I gave her that today. She is finally whole again, with a proper Catholic burial. Those ghouls have stolen her organs, including Sam, have paid the price for their sins. One sec. Okay, there, I'm back. The beautiful elf breaks in, destines the call. Yes, God, that's enough. We have business to attend to. My old family is dead, buried where they should be. They can't taint my new family now. They can't corrupt my children. I won't go through that again. Jessica, we need to go now. She presses a button on her comlink. She seethes at you. What happens now is on your head. If you had just walked away when I told you to, McCluskey would have eventually found Holmes, collected his lieutenant's badge, and closed the case. But you had to keep digging. Now you and your friends have to die. Let their blood be on your hands. Ma'am, we received your code red. Only 3, no problem. Are you sure? Miss. What is this? More lightning. Lightning explosion that also does -1 AP. I'm going -5 HP and -1 AP for 1 round. Oh, hello there. We need to find out where Sam's sister might have gone. Maybe one of these guys can tell us with a little encouragement. hear scratching coming from the crypt. Looks like we woke up the neighbors. We've got ghouls incoming. Hey Dystopia, maybe we can use this to our advantage. Oh hell, ghouls. Hear scratching coming from the crypt. You listen as the sounds of gunfire and spell bursts fade away and the silence of the dead returns to the cemetery. The man is beyond healing. As you look down at him, you notice the quality of his suit and shoes. This isn't a runner and he's not from the streets. Jessica Watts, she hired you. Where can I find her? You get nothing, he convulses and dies. We don't know each other too well, but it seems to me that you need to find a better group of people to associate with. You're not the first person to tell me that. Yeah, well, it's part of living in the shadows. Do your research, Summer. How did those troops materialize? You didn't recognize who the elf was. No, who was she? She's Lynn Telestrian, super rich and super into the Universal Brotherhood. She's a major spokesperson for them in Seattle. Yeah, grabs the dead man by the throat. At first, it looks like he's trying to kill him again, and then you notice he's feeling for something under his skin. Yep, he's got a Corp ID chip. You watch as Jake pulls out his modified PDA and slots the chip. Mister, Wiley here was with Eagle Security. They work for the UB. That must have been Lynn Telestrian's security detail we just chewed through. If she's protecting Jessica, they'll be inside the Universal Brotherhood. If you're going to hit the Universal Brotherhood, I'm coming too. That psycho just admitted she had my friend Sam and a lot of innocent people killed, so she could put her dead mother back together. That is totally slagged up. Plus, she and her elf buddy Lynn just tried to geek me. They're gonna pay for that. Suit yourself, lady. I was only stepping by to pay my respect to Sam. Merc hit squads, the Universal Brotherhood, not my scene at the moment. I can call up some of Delilah's runners if you want to go there. Let me know what you decide. The Brotherhood probably retains mercs like the one that just attacked us for their security detail. You're gonna need a full team if you're heading to their chapter house. I can arrange for some of Delilah's runners to meet you there if you want to go now. No, I want to stop at the Union first. I'll hire runners there. Moving parts. You put the pieces together. Jessica Watts was reassembling her mother, Melinda, gathering her missing organs to allow Melinda a decent burial. Organs Sam sold for a quick buck after her death. The ghoul attack after the ceremony didn't appear to be part of Lynn Telestrian's attempt to get you out of Jessica's way. They were just more victims of magic's helter-skelter return to the world. Lynn's well-armed security unit was a different animal entirely. You head back to the Union to resupply and rearm. Whatever Lynn and Jessica are involved with, it appears to be a large operation, and the trail leads to the Universal Brotherhood. Let's see how much it's gonna cost. Hire team and head for the Universal Brotherhood. Part-time runner, full-time badass. expensive fuckers. Okay, might as well go then if I can't afford. Actually, let's just save some prep. $3,700. Towards Brotherhood. It takes nearly an hour for the taxi to make its way from the squalor of the Redmond Barrens across the bridge to the Seattle waterfront and the Universal Brotherhood. The building is a pre-crash brick job with a fancy new facade that sports neon highlights and an enormous set of glass double doors. Through the windows you can see activity within, smiling, happy disciples shuffling along in beige pyjamas and slippers. A greeter stands outside the front door, gently attempting to entice the misbegotten and the curious to enter and take their first baby steps towards Brotherhood. Pike Place Market is usually empty by now, but you step out of the cab to the sound of an excited crowd. Okay, that's it for now, but thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.